Hi everyone, my name's Brenton Ward and this is the Wize Guys team. I have our resident Wize Guys with me today, Ed Chan. How are you, Ed?
Hello, Brenton. I'm well. How are you?
Very good, thank you. And our fellow resident Wize Guy, Jamie Johns. Jamie, how are you doing?
G'day, Brenton. Is it good afternoon here and good morning there?
I think that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Now, gents, in this video, we're setting the scene for a framework for building a really high-performing accounting firm, all about beginning with the end in mind. But just before we get into that, setting the scene for everyone watching this video, some of the activities that Jamie would have run through after Ed's insights into what the discovery session is all about is you should have now completed your life scorecard, you should now have completed your business scorecard, and the other supporting activities there. So now that you've really taken stock, it's time to begin with the end in mind. So we're going to dig into what that actually means, because I know there's a lot of people who have heard this phrase before, Ed, but don't really understand what it means and what the practical terms of it are and how it can contribute to the firm's success. So I'm going to hand the microphone, or the virtual microphone, over to you, Ed. Why do we need to now begin with the end in mind or look at this concept?
Thanks, Brenton. I guess if you look at society as a whole, the very successful people in the world tend to plan their lives out. They don't just drift. And if you don't plan your life out, you end up wherever life takes you. However, if you come to work, instead of coming to work to prepare a tax return, you come to work to prepare a business that prepares the tax return. It's a fundamental different game that you're playing. And you know, the old saying that you don't plan to fail, you simply fail to plan is really, really true. And until I became very clear about what it is that I was coming to work to do, and that was not to prepare a tax return, but to build a business that gave me the lifestyle that I wanted, then I was all over the shop, and you know, I didn't know what the direction was. So I had to get very clear in my head what that end in mind was, because when you look at society, most people are not very successful, and when they get to 65, they don't, you know, they're still working, and they're still, you know, working. I call it working in your P&L rather than having your balance sheet work for you. And it's because they haven't planned, and whether that's in accounting or in life in general, you know, people don't plan for their retirement, and they don't plan for a lot of things. So I didn't want that. I wanted to be very clear about the things I needed to do, because life is very short, time is short, and you can come to work and an 8-hour day will go very quickly, and you could spend that 8 hours in the wrong areas of your life. And I didn't want to do that. So I decided to sit back and say, all right, what is it that I wanted in life, and what would my, and it was broken down into two parts. The first part was lifestyle. What did I want for lifestyle? And secondly, to give me that lifestyle, there was a certain amount of revenue that I needed to generate to allow me to have that lifestyle. And I guess when I sat down and looked at it, it then it started to shape what I needed to do when I went to work. And it certainly wasn't to prepare a tax return.
So I'd love for you to, if you're willing to share the details of how you come to basically forming that picture of your beginning with the end in mind framework, which we'll get to in a second. But I just want to pull you in on this, Jamie. When you started working with Ed as your mentor, were you in a position of going to work to do a tax return rather than going to work to build a business and be an investor, or how has this concept shaped your journey?
Yeah, I was pretty much going to work to prepare a tax return. Although I did have some employees and staff at the time. It was more about, you know, getting them behind the vision as well. I mean, I had a limited vision, but the way Ed articulated it in our mentoring meetings was that, you know, the leaders, particularly the leaders, need to articulate, you know, what their vision was as well as mine. So, you know, it's probably one thing having a vision. The other thing is like communicating that with the team and bringing them along for the ride as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was
Talk
really
about that clarity piece.
yeah, it was certainly clarity, but you know, one thing Ed pointed out for me that I would always sort of, you know, run out the front of the troops about 5Ks out the front and not really, you know, look back and they were 5 kilometres behind me. So, yeah, I think a lot of us are prone to that as well. So yeah, getting clarity, but getting everyone on the bus in the right direction, as Jim Collins talks about. Yeah.
Brilliant.